Hello, welcome to Wine Blast Live. And I guess we, or perhaps you, should start by explaining what on earth green pizza is.
Yeah, fair enough. The name was my idea, wasn't it?
It was.
Now, it's not a million miles away from a green pizza or a pizza in general, but really, I mean, this is a vegetable tart.
It is.
If we're being honest. I just couldn't bring myself to put that in a podcast title.
I know.
Sorry. So this is me going on the record, fair and square, absolutely fair enough. I'm owning up here. Also to say, I did force you to call it a green pizza.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you are fairly and squarely taking the blame for that one. But whatever we're calling it, it is an absolutely delicious comfort food kind of dish that is ridiculously easy to make and is a brilliant match for wine. And we've got a couple of rather lovely bottles here, haven't we?
We do. But before we dive in, we should say that this food and wine mini-series, which we started at the end of the last season of Wine Blast, is brought to you in association with Wine Club by Majestic, their subscription service to help you discover delicious new things without the faff. Each season they explore a new region, and right now it's South Africa. So I don't think it's too much in the way of a spoiler to say we have got a delicious Cape wine in the mix.
Indeed we do. But before we tuck in, we had an email that we wanted to mention from listener Wim in Flanders in Belgium, who would like to share a sensational food and wine match of his own that he stumbled upon, which is, I don't know how you stumble upon this, but it is slow cooked smoked pulled pork. So we're talking sort of dark sugar rub, barbecue sauce, that kind of thing, matched with Alsace or Mosel Riesling. Now, Wim says many people steer clear of these wines, but they transform in the presence of pulled pork or spare ribs. Who knew?
Do you know what though? I mean, pork and Riesling is...
It's a great shout.
It's a great shout. It's a match made in heaven, isn't it? Sausages, belly pork, bacon... Even pork scratchings, for those of you out there.
Imagine going down the pub and saying, I'll have a bag of pork scratchings and I've got a glass of Mosel Riesling.
Quite work, does it? Anyway, cider works in the same context. Anyway, even things like brock eggs, you might have to Google that one of my favourite forms of pork. But anyway, just thinking about it, that we recommended a off-dry Mosel Riesling, didn't we, with our curry, with chicken masala in this mini-series. And I think that would probably have gone really well with pork as well.
Yeah, it could, definitely. But right now we have green pizza.
Green pizza
in front of us. So we need to get on with this
and
focus on that.
Right.
Anyway, essentially, it is a puff pastry. So you base this puff pastry and then you top that with a mixture of eggs and parmesan and gruyere and garlic, bit of salt and pepper, and then a whole load of spring or summer veg. Anything you like, really. We've got asparagus out of season here, we know, but please forgive us for that. We've got some peas, some homegrown courgette, mint, and a little bit of goat's cheese there on top as well.
And this immediately is crying out for something fresh and lively on the wine front. Something that tastes green in the same way that this looks green.
It's a green pizza.
It's green.
We know, absolutely. Anyway, and given the ingredients and the flavours, the obvious choice has got to be the Sauvignon Blanc grape variety. We've got an absolute classic here. It's just fabulous. It's from New Zealand, and it's the Villa Maria Taylor's Pass, and that is it's a 2020 vintage. It's $13.99 on a mix 6 from Majestic, and it's from the Owatry sub-region. So that's typically a more kind of tangy herbal style of Marlborough Sauvignon.
Yeah, absolutely. Unlike Wairau, the other part of Marlborough, which is often more tropical, more rich, maybe the classic style we've come to expect.
And interesting, I mean, this one has almost flavours of asparagus in it. Asparagus and we've got a bit of sort of tomato leaf and lime, that kind of style. Let me just have a bit of pizza.
On the back
pizza.
On the back of the bottle, it says something about jalapeno and punchy lemongrass. That's not our tasting notes, but I think
I haven't seen that on a label before.
No, but I think it's actually spot on. It's sort of jalapeno-y, citrusy, tangy. Essentially this wine, it's crisp and fresh, but it's also quite succulent, which you often find with some good New Zealand Sauvignons, and it just works seamlessly with the dish, doesn't it? The fruit generosity works really well with that goat's cheese too that's on the top here.
Well, I mean, fair enough. Sauvignon goat's cheese, the two. I mean, it's an absolute match made in heaven, isn't it? It's a classic match.
It is. Now,
so
if you're looking for a good value option, we've got one here. We're just sort of passing bottles around the table, glasses around the table. I'm keeping this glass.
Which one have you got? You've got a Sauvignon.
Now, this is the Zevenwacht Sauvignon Blanc Estate.
Which one's Zevenwacht?
Don't get your glasses mixed up, it's that one. Estate 2022. Now, this is in the Wine Club Discovery case, which is £99 for 12 bottles, which is really good value.
Yeah.
And this is a great value option. It's a classic South African Sauvignon Blanc. You know, you've got those aromas and flavours of green peppers, of fresh pears, of cut grass. It's smoky too. You know, it's just bright and engaging. Loads of wine there for the price. And it just sits really pleasantly alongside the dish. You know, it's lots of wine for the price.
It is. And, you know, again, it shows how good Sauvignon is with this kind of dish. And, you know, it's not a fancy Sauvignon. There we go, have a go. But it's as you said, really good value. Good value bottle of classic South African Sauvignon, so great. Absolutely. And then as a final option, you know, moving aside from Sauvignon, there are plenty of other grapes that have those sort of fresh green flavours in their spectrum. And one of them is Grüne Veltliner. It's an Austrian speciality, and we've got a lovely one here, haven't we? It's the Domain Wachau Weissenkirchen Smaragd 2021. This is $14.99 on a mixed 6 from Majestic.
Well pronounced.
And it has, I'm not sure it was.
You just sped through it.
I went through it quickly.
Hoping
nobody notices how bad my pronunciation is. But it has, I mean, you've got flavours, you know, you've got fresh herbs here, almost a kind of a green gauge. I'm not sure I really know what green gauge tastes like, but, you know, I always think
sort of green fruit,
it seems green
tangy
to me, green gagey to me, and white pepper. And it also has a slightly sort of saline, minerally edge, and that again just works. It's a wine that really comes into its own with the dish. You know, on its own, it's a little bit more muted. With the dish, it really came into its own, didn't it?
It really did. You know, I think the key with this wine is not to serve it too cold. We did, and initially it tasted quite sort of angular and not the most friendly style. Yeah. But then we let it warm up a bit. In the glass. Yeah, it's
interesting.
More generous and round. This might be a good tip for Grüne Veltliner in general. Became more generous and round, especially the more serious ones, and complex. You know, it is quite dry and spicy as a match, but it does work. You know, and it's something just a little bit different. So if you're a fan of Grüne, well worth.
I think if you're looking for something a bit different, you know, that is it's in the Sauvignon spectrum, but it is not quite the same. So it's something a bit different to put on the table. Anyway, so there we have it. You've got delicious wines for green pizza. Really, I think we could have gone for a whole range of wines here because it's quite a wine-friendly dish.
So if you were going to throw some other names out, things like Verdecho.
Well, we've done Grüne, but Verdecho, Albarino, maybe Pickpool, that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
And what I was going to say is that, you know, it's a wine-friendly dish, even though asparagus itself is generally a bit of a tricky vegetable to match. I think when you put it with the pastry and you've got the cheese, it just sort of tends to temper the effect of the asparagus and makes it that much easier to match a wine to.
Okay, interesting. So perhaps try it out with your own favourite white wines. You know, see how it works. Let us know. You can also share your top food and wine matches in general, whatever they may be. Leave us a comment or visit our website to find out ways to get in touch at susieandpeter.com.
Now, all the wine details and the recipe are in the show notes. We want to say thanks to Majestic, thanks to you, and yeah.
Keep it green, people.
Keep it green.
Cheers.
Cheers.